All right, easier way to EQ your drums. Okay, when I EQ my drums, or when I used to EQ my drums, I did a lot of EQing on it, and I just recently found out you don't always have to do that. So I got a session here and some drums loaded up, and I want you to take a listen with and without the EQ on it, and I'm going to explain to you how I came up with these EQ settings. So here's without. All right, pretty good, nothing fancy. And here's with some EQ on it. So I cleaned up a lot of the tracks, and I actually did not use as much EQ as I normally would. I really limited myself to just one or two bands really. Because if you find the frequency specifics of an instrument, you don't really need to EQ that much, really. So uh, when I start EQing my drums, I usually start with the drum bus. So let's take a listen to everything on. Yeah, just taking out some of the boxiness and some of the harshness. The boxiness is usually 400, 500, 600, 700, 800K, or I should say hertz. And the harshness is, in this case, it's 3 kilohertz, somewhere like that, 3, 4, 5 kilohertz. Because we got a lot of hi-hat. A lot of hi-hat. Mhm. So, yeah, it really cleans it up. And then usually after drum bus, I start with my kick. So let's hold the kick for a second. And this is pretty funny because I'm using the one knobs basically. And like I said earlier, like not using too much EQ. Well, I'm giving it all the brightness because the kick could use it, and almost half of the bass. But it's just adding what it already has, or what it's missing, I guess. You know, gives it some weight. All right, next up would be the snare in this case, and this is a funny one, because snare usually most of the snare is around 2 or 3K, where the attack is. Some of the snares itself as well, the sizzle. But because we've got a lot of hi-hat bleed, you're not allowed to, or you're not able to really boost the high end. Because normally I would boost it, I don't know, 6 sometimes 8. So it's a more modest approach. But take a listen what it does. It just gives it a little bit more crack. All right, next up would be the hi-hat, maybe together with the rest. And the hi-hat was pretty simple. I just rolled off a lot of the high stuff, 10K. Because I want the hi-hat not to be too bright because it's on one side of the speaker usually, and then it gets sort of dominant for the whole drum kit. So, yeah, you know, that's it. Nothing to it. And then some EQing on the toms. I haven't done the toms yet because, I don't like to say it, but toms usually end up being sampled with me because they take up most of the samples anyway. And all the tom mics that I've tried so far are pretty, like, they have a lot of mid, or they're very hunky, So basically, I sample them, or I make a blend. Usually, I make a blend, but and then I just leave the toms as they are and just gate them, and then blend them with the sample. So, all right, next or last in the chain would be the overheads, and usually that's 8K or 10K, giving it a little bit of a zing to it, I guess. And I didn't do a lot of zing. Yeah. Somewhere between 2 and 4 B. Alright, and that's most of it. Not a lot of EQ, not crazy or something. So, yeah, easier way to mix your drums.